All right, we are back again. A quick reminder before we get going that we are going live at 8 p.m. on this very YouTube channel, discussing all of the biggest movers and shakers on deadline day. Christopher Hamill, Dougie Critchley are with me today, though, to be discussing the Arthur Melo loan to Liverpool. Hamster, you're a bit more positive about this one.
Yeah, I feel like I am one of the few people who is quite buoyant about this transfer. I mean, don't get me wrong, I was indifferent to start with. I just thought, okay, that's fine. Like, he's more than a warm body, actually. Just to call him a warm body would be, I think, a bit of a put down. But he can come in if he picks up 1,000 minutes, and that means that key players get a rest in cup competitions or at various junctures in the Premier League, and he does okay, keeps them ticking over, then job done. Because he will just be filling in for the injured Naby Keita or the injured Oxlade-Chamberlain, being rotated in and out, probably helping Liverpool grind out victories against lower half Premier League sides. And I think he'll be okay at that. Now, he has had his injury woes in recent seasons, hasn't he? Not the most reliable from a fitness perspective, and I know we can say that about a lot of Liverpool's midfielders
right now.
But they've clearly worked their way down the list, and they've got to someone whose stats don't get me going, don't get me excited whatsoever. He's not played enough football, has he, for us to really analyse him at any great depth. But his passing range, I would say quite similar to Thiago's, obviously not as good as Thiago's, not many players are. Mobility, probably akin to Jordan Henderson. Just a good technical footballer who it's worth, I think, rolling the dice on, because anyone that watched that game against Tottenham in the 2018 Champions League will know there is a hell of a player
4 years ago
in there somewhere, late 2018, yes. But it's been a bit unlucky since with injuries, and he was part of a bank balancing exercise, wasn't he, with Barcelona going to Juventus, so has been uprooted twice, Barcelona, then Turin after leaving Gremio. So, listen, I think there's a few mitigating factors, circumstances around him not playing a lot of football. Obviously, been unlucky with injury as well, but it's fine. It's okay. I think I'm generally positive about it.
Yeah, I have to say, it feels very un-Liverpool, though. It feels more like a move Man United would have made, or, dare I say, Everton would have made. Like, if Arthur had gone to Everton in this window, I probably wouldn't have been surprised. Dukes, from the European perspective, what's your sort of take on this?
Well, I just think he's been a player that's failed to meet expectations at both of his last two clubs. Like, he came in from Gremio, as Chris says. He was recently man of the match in the Copa Libertadores final when he arrived. He was, labelled the next Iniesta, never took off at Barcelona, went to Juventus, and I think he got 1 goal and 1 assist in 62 games. That's not his sole, game, as it were. He's, as Chris says, a ball retainer. He's very tidy in possession. But in terms of physically being able to handle the Premier League, both in terms of in-game and in terms of keeping his body fit, I just don't see it. He's never played over 1,500 league minutes in a European season. He's missed 23 games over the last 2 seasons with injury. So for me, you're trying to fix an injury-prone midfield with an injury-prone midfielder. And I think there are better options on the market as well. Like the Husamawa talk, maybe it would have changed by the time this video goes live, but that seems a bit quiet. Like, why hasn't Liverpool picked up him on a free or a very low fee at least? So it's a move that I'm not totally behind. I totally agree with you. It just feels very random.
Yeah, it
I
does.
think that's quite a high barometer there, if you're saying.
It reminds me of Saul Niguez going to Chelsea, and that stunk the place out.
Yeah, and people have been making those comparisons all day on Twitter, but I think that, and it's a juicy little soundbite, isn't it? And it makes it even easier to dismiss this transfer. But he's not coming in to fix any midfield. He's not coming in to have a great impact to propel Liverpool, back into the title race. Like I said, he's coming in to be a useful rotation option, and I don't think that is beyond him at this point. I think he can still have a good impact if that is the barometer.
And some of his off-the-ball work is still high. Like, his pressures per 90 still right up there across Europe.
Reasonable, yeah.
Like, he's worked hard off the ball. And if he is literally just coming in to play that role, the 7th choice midfielder, then fine. But I think he's going to have to play slightly more significant role than people are giving him credit for. Like Jordan Henderson, we've seen injury problems with again. Thiago, we know he's going to be injured at least one more time this season. Fabinho should be rock solid, but then are we saying that Arthur is not going to be coming in to start over Milner, who has looked a long way off the pace at the start of the season? Carvalho, who has had big impacts in games, as we saw last night, and Harvey Elliott, who's looked pretty sensational at the start of the season. But I think to say that he's going to come in and 1,000 league minutes, I think they'll be wanting more from him.
Yeah, and the pressure's on as well. Like, Liverpool haven't played particularly well this season. Like, they are conceding far too many, particularly in the first half of games. They're starting games really slowly. And we have seen the more bright elements of their team. It's probably been Harvey Elliott. It's probably been Fabio Carvalho. Like, are they getting less minutes because Arthur's coming in for a loan? I just don't think it makes perfect sense for me. And it just feels very panicky. It feels very un-Liverpool over the last few years. Like, could they have got Conrad Lima 2 months ago? Could they have got Houssem, as I say, at any point during this window? It just feels like he was not the right pick for them right now, and just a bit of a rush.
Do you think as well, like, it strikes me a little bit as they decided to do a loan for Arthur to hold off, and they think, okay, we're going for Jude next summer. We are going for Jude next summer. If they don't get Jude Bellingham next summer, have they then made a mistake, like you said, not going for a player like a Conrad Lima earlier in the window? Because there's going to be a lot of clubs interested in Jude Bellingham next summer.
But Bayern Munich were interested in Conrad Lima earlier in the window, and they also haven't landed him. Like, when RB Leipzig don't want to sell a player, they will not part ways with him. So I wouldn't use that as a stick to beat Liverpool.
No, I'm saying more like, have they put all their eggs in one basket with Bellingham?
I don't think so. I don't think the opportunity cost is massive here. If they want to save a little bit of money and go for Bellingham, in the same sense they maybe did with the player that ended up going to Real Madrid from Monaco, Aurelien Tchouameni, then okay, that's decent medium to long-term planning. I'm not sure if that is the case, but there is also Curtis Jones in central midfield. Harvey Elliott can pick up those minutes as well. I don't think that much will rest on his shoulders, and I actually do think this is fairly calculated from FSG. I don't think it's panicky, in my opinion. Normally, their recruitment is led by stats, right? And we've championed it. We've kind of complimented them for being very adept in the transfer market. But they've clearly looked at a broken toy here and thought, if we can fix it, there's great value in that as well. Like, FSG are also great at looking at the human element of transfers as well, aren't they? Klopp is very clear about what sort of personality he wants in the side, and if they can look after him a little bit better, if he is that sort of guy behind the scenes, then great.
I just find it a little bit puzzling.
There's big upside and low downside, in my opinion.
You're right. It's not very risky, is it?
No. I mean, how much are they picking up?
It's very low risk, but the planning for me still doesn't align. Like, clearly they wanted Tchouameni, was a principal target for the club at the start of the summer, lost out into Real Madrid. So was the plan at that stage, when they missed out on their number one midfield target, to go, we don't want any other midfielders in world football
until
here
the
final day of the summer, and go, okay, we're going to take Arthur.
The good thing that we shouldn't totally rule out is, yes, he's sort of failed at Juve, but lots of other players have come to the Premier League in the last 6 months and actually performed really well on the back of a poor spell at Juve. Kulusevski couldn't really get in the side, couldn't really affect games. He's played really well. Rodrigo Bentancur looks like he was made for the Premier League as well, playing really well at the start of this season. So I wouldn't totally say...
I've won you over.
So I wouldn't totally
come over to my side.
I wouldn't totally say that just because he's failed at Juve, it's going to be a bad signing. I'm more concerned about his injury record. I just think that is the main problem with this move.
And if he was brought in to fulfill 2,000 minutes, I'd be fully on Team Dougie there. But this is also a guy who's highly rated by Chichi, the Brazilian manager, who gave him 14 caps in 2020. Admittedly, that's slowed right down. I think only 2 caps in the last 2 years, but has been in recent squads, again, because of injuries. But if they can keep him relatively injury-free, they've got a Thiago Light on their hands. I actually think he's been miscategorised a little bit as a player in European competition, with people calling him the next Iniesta, with sort of that box-to-box nature he first showed when he came over to Catalonia. But well capable of being a deep controller. And I'm quite excited to see him play, but I do realise I am quite biased. I give Brazilians a greater bandwidth than maybe other players.
You make
I
fair
think
points.
you've made some very fair points. What do you guys at home think? Do you think Arthur is a good signing? Maybe is he a little bit panicky? Let us know in the comments below. As I said earlier as well, make sure you tune into the live stream, 8 p.m. on the Football Daily YouTube channel and TikTok. Thanks very much for watching, everybody. We'll see you later. Bye.